So in this rational equation, we have denominators of x, 5, and 5x plus 10. And we need to multiply both sides of the equation by the lowest common multiple of the denominators in order to eliminate the denominators completely. Now, one way to work it would be to multiply by 5 and x and 5x plus 10 on both sides. But that would actually be overkill because 5 is a factor of 5x plus 10. Okay, so scratch work up here. 5x plus 10 is equal to 5 times x plus 10. X plus 2 when you factor out a 5. Okay, so the lowest common multiple of those little denominators then is, well, this 5. Now if I multiply by 5, I'm covering that 5 and it'll also cancel that 5. So I'm going to think of this as in factored form. So 5, I'll need this x plus 2 and also this x out here. So 5 times x plus 2. Okay, so I'm going to multiply both sides by that. So on the left we'll have 5x times x plus 2 and then times the whole problem, 1 over x minus 12 over, instead of writing it like this, I'll go ahead and write it in the factored form, 5 times x plus 2, just to make it more clear how this stuff's going to cancel, equals 1/5 on the right times 5x times x plus 2. So on the right, the 1/5 and the 5 cancel. On the left, we've got to distribute first. I'll go ahead and write it all out, although you do not have to. So for the first distribution, we've got 5 times x plus 2 times this 1 over x there, minus the 5 and the x plus 2 times this whole fraction, times 12 over 5 times x plus 2. And then on the right we have x times x plus 2. Okay, if this worked, if we did it correctly, all the denominators will cancel. So here we have an x times 1 over x, so those cancel. The 5 cancels with the 1/5, and the x plus 2 and the x plus 2 all cancel. So over here we're left with 5 times x plus 2. Then in the second term we're left with an x and the 12, so I'm going to write it as minus 12x. And then on the right side we still have x times x plus 2. So what we've now done is we've converted this rational equation into a quadratic equation. I know it's quadratic because right here, when I distribute that x, I'm going to get an x squared. So now we go back to quadratic techniques. Okay, so we're going to need to expand and get everything on one side of the equation. Let's see, I'm going to move everything over to the right side, I think, just so that my leading coefficient will be positive. So, but first I'll go ahead and distribute over here to get 5x plus 10 minus 12x equals x squared plus 2x. Next, let's move everything over to the right. So on the left we're going to have 0. I only have one x squared term. Okay, then we'll have 2x minus this 5x is negative 3x plus 12x is going to be positive 9x. And then moving the 10 over becomes minus 10. Okay, so that's the quadratic that we want to solve, and let's see if it will factor. It would be nice if it did. So x squared will factor into x and x. For the 10, I could do 5 and 2, but that's not going to get me a 9 for my middle term, so let's go with 10 and 1. Let's put the positive sign in front of the 10 and the negative sign in front of the 1. So then my two solutions are going to be negative 10 and 1. And because we multiplied both sides of this rational equation by variables, we have to check our answers. So let's check x equals negative 10. It's a little bit tedious to do, but you've got to do it. So plugging in negative 10, we'll get negative 1/10 minus 12 over, let's see, 5 times negative 10 is negative 50, plus 10 is negative 40. Does that equal 1/5? Well, let's see, 12 and 40, we can take a 4 out of both of those, so that reduces to 3/10. So we actually have negative 1/10. We have negative of the negative, so plus 3/10. Does that equal 2/5, which is equivalent to 2/5? And yes, that's definitely true. Negative 1 plus 3 equals 2. And then you'll want to go check the other one. Well, we'll just go ahead and do it. So now I'm going to check x equals 1. Plugging into this original equation, we'll have 1 over 1 minus 12 over 5 times 1 is 5, plus 10 is 15, so minus 12 over 15. Does that equal to 1/5? Let's see, 12/15 reduces, if we take a 3 out of everything, to 4/5. So does 5/5 minus 4/5 equal 1/5? Yes, it does. Therefore, both of those are, in fact, solutions to that rational equation.